Hi, you are highly welcome to this class, and in this class we'll be continuing our study of inequality, which we saw in our previous classes. And in this class we'll be looking at this very question which I've already written down on the board, and which involves a problem on inequality, which has to do with a problem on inequality that involves absolute value. And of course, you can see what is on the board here, that we are to solve absolute value of t minus 5 greater than what? 2. We're going to use what? The definition of absolute value, so that we will be able to understand what this absolute value of t, what this absolute value is. Absolute value of x is x if x is greater than or equal to 0, and it is minus x if x is less than 0. X is representing something, is representing whatever thing you have inside the absolute value. So you have two cases. A first case is a situation whereby the quantity you have inside the absolute value is greater than or equal to 0. Then the absolute value of it is the same thing as that quantity. The second case is a situation whereby what you have inside the absolute value is less than 0. Is less than 0, then the absolute value of that quantity will be minus of whatever you have inside the quantity, inside the absolute value. So we are going to consider the case 1. Case 1. If this quantity you have inside the absolute value, if t minus 5 is greater than or equal to 0, then by definition of absolute value, we are going to have that absolute value of t minus 5 which greater than 2 will imply t minus 5 is greater than what? 2. Because if what is inside the absolute value is greater than or equal to 0, absolute value of that quantity remains the same quantity. So if we assume that this quantity inside the absolute value, which is t minus 5, is greater than or equal to 0, then absolute value of this quantity t minus 5 remains t minus 5. We can move minus 5 to the other side. We are going to have t is greater than what? 2 plus what? 5. Because if you move minus 5 to the other side, change to plus. If you do 2 plus 5, you are going to have 7. You are going to have that t is greater than what? 7. So we are going to consider numbers from 7 and above. But 7 is not among, because we are having strict inequality here. So we are going to use open brackets. Then we have 7, comma, it's going numbers bigger than 7 towards infinity, comma, infinity. We use open bracket as well at the side of infinity. We look at case 2. If what you have inside the absolute value, which is if t minus 5 is a negative quantity, if it is less than 0, then absolute value of t minus 5 greater than 2, right? That's what we have. We imply, so we are assuming that this quantity inside the absolute value t minus 5 is a negative quantity. It is less than 0. Then by definition, if what you have inside the absolute value is negative, then the result of the absolute value is minus of that quantity inside the absolute value. So you are going to have minus of what inside the absolute value is t minus 5. That's minus of t minus 5. Then of course we have greater than what? 2. So we can do what? Open the bracket. So minus times t, we are going to have minus t. Minus times minus 5, we are going to have positive 5 greater than what? 2. Then if you move plus 5 to this side, you are going to have minus t will be greater than 2 minus what? 5. Then which implies that minus t is greater than 2 minus 5 is minus 3. So I need t. So for me to get t, I will multiply both sides by minus 1, so that this minus t will be positive. So we are going to multiply both sides by what? Minus 1, which simply implies if I multiply t by minus t by minus 1, I have positive t. And anytime you multiply both sides of inequality by a negative quantity, the inequality reverses. So it will reverse from greater than to what? less than. And if you multiply minus 3 by minus 1, you have positive 3. So t is less than positive 3. So we are looking at all numbers that are less than what? All numbers that are less than positive 3. That is, you are going to have numbers from positive 3 down to what? Negative infinity. But positive 3 is not among, because we have strict inequality. So you are going to have open bracket negative infinity, comma, you have this 3 here, right? Then you still use open bracket at the side of what? 3. So this gives the solution for this case. Then we are now going to get the general solution for the both cases. So for the first case, we have the solution gave us 7 comma infinity. We now take the union with that of the other solution, union negative infinity comma what? 3. So this is the general solution for this very problem. So see you in our next class. Bye.